Hello everyone, welcome back again to Spiritual Growth Tarot and Astrology. I'm Denise, and this is your astrology reading, of course, you can see, for the week of September 11th through the 17th. And the moon will be going through the signs of Aries through Gemini. So let me get the charts going here for you, and we'll see what's coming through for this week. Okay, hold on. Okay, so I want to go over the things, of course, first that last all week long, and it's a lot to do with the sun. So this trine that you can see, I'm grabbing my marker here, or highlighter, I should say. This right here, this sun in Virgo, trining Pluto in Capricorn, is all week long. And of course you could see that easily just because the sun's at 18 degrees and it's building to an exact trine when it gets to 26 degrees, right? So because this is a 120 degree aspect here. But for today, or a couple of days, yeah, I think it's till actually it's till Tuesday night. The sun is also trining not only Uranus but the North Node, and it's been in the we've been in the sun trining the North Node all last week as well. So you can count on an easy flow of discernment as to the direction you want to go, in your authority, but you're going to need to be careful with your communications, and that's because Mars is squaring Venus. This is happening, oh goodness, is it all week? I think it is. Well, yeah, it is. That's right, because 11 to 7, because you can see how, oh, wrong color, girlfriend. Okay, you can see how Mars is at 11 degrees. Venus is at 7 degrees. So Venus has to get, just about 12 degrees here, has to get, just about 8 degrees there. So it has to go another 4 degrees to, excuse me, to come into an exact square. So this is a building square all week long. Hold on, I've got to grab some water. Okay, so what does all this mean? Well, simply stated, we need to be careful with our communications because we have an easy flow of knowing where we want to go and to the detail, most likely, what it is that we want to experience as we get there. And there can be a lot of needing to be right with details. There can be those types of situations where you think you know what's best for someone else and you might have to bite your tongue. Or you might not be considering completely where they are. And but you're feeling into a discernment. Now, what would this discernment be about? Well, we can see that now because Virgo is all about discernment. But here's what it's about. Neptune in Pisces. You can see this exact opposition. This is all week as well. The sun is opposing Neptune all week. So again, what does that mean? Well, the sun is shining light on things that matter, things that are useful, things that are service-oriented, everything to do with health, diet, the details of life, scheduling, and everything that has to do with, literally with Mercury, because Mercury rules Virgo, of course, and Gemini. So these elements of communication and communication styles, like Mercury in Libra, wants things to be fair and balanced and thinking of, both sides. But Mars in Gemini, and Mars is going to stay in Gemini through the rest of the year. And notice, not to go off on a tangent, but just notice, see all the little RXs on all these planets here? Now, the nodes don't matter. The retrograde nodes mean nothing. But, we have Pluto retrograde, Saturn retrograde, Neptune, these major outer planetary, these planets are holding space for us to get something done and go somewhere, get on our paths, and go somewhere internally first, probably. Traveling is always fun. But you can do a lot of armchair traveling too, and just walking around your neighborhood like I do. But look at this, man. Chiron, Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, Uranus, and now Mercury's in the mix. So all of these planets are having to reevaluate things, reinvent ourselves. Okay, so reevaluate would come in with Mercury, and Uranus would be retrograde, could be reinventing ourselves because now we really know what we want. Neptune retrograde has us getting on our path in a much more spiritual way. And now that the sun is opposing and shining the light from Virgo, we're going to be looking at food sensitivities, food intolerances, being much Neptunian, much with what I'm speaking to here with Neptunian energies is much more sensitive than ever before in a big way. And I really love that Jupiter is in Aries here, also retrograde and pairing up with, it's not close orb, but it's going to get closer and closer. After Jupiter goes direct, then they'll pair up really tightly. But with, and I'll get to the moon in a minute, or in a few minutes, or last, actually, before we move on to Monday. But for this week, it's important to remember that Jupiter's here all week long, holding space. Now, remember, Jupiter's about healing, okay? Healing, and it opens things up. Sometimes it can be tricky. And that's because, especially in Aries, it can be impulsive. But notice this, the moon's in there, but this one line here, this semi-square here, up to Saturn, and then see how it is over here to Uranus. Right here. This is lasting all week. So Jupiter's here holding space to slow down, even though it wants to go fast because it's in Aries. And what will we need to slow down with? We're being held back by Saturn here. And this is, of course, all things political and having to do with the government. And we're just wanting to be free, right here with Saturn in Aquarius. This is the people that want to be free. And, I mean, my goodness, we think we're getting somewhere to bring in more justice with Mercury. And of course, this Mercury opposition Jupiter's trying to help us heal and move forward. But because it's retrograde and now Mercury's retrograde too, this is where astrology is showing us how it really mirrors. I mean, all we have to do is look at life, and if you're an astrologer, you're like, oh yeah, it makes perfect sense. Of course, we would have to stop and slow down, and the dirty politicians, like you know who I'm talking about. who has thrown a monkey wrench to slow everything down, right? It's not going to work in the long run, of course. It's not going to work because it's not going towards what is just and fair and loving and kind and, it's not aligned with truth. It's not aligned with the laws of love. So, but here we are, we're having to maybe receive this as a gift that helps us to learn better ways to protect, the rules, right? Because new rules are being created, need to be created, and that is, major part of the Saturn square Uranus, and it's going to get right back into the square to the nodes later on. It's just a little tiny bit of a break, and it's only because due to like minutes that red line is out of here, but it actually, I'll just draw it in because it actually belongs there. This is just a mathematical little temporary thing. So Saturn's up here in a T-square, holding space for the past and the present, or the past and the future to heal, but it depends on new laws that need to come through and be formed, regulated, and enforced. So that the people can really be free. Uranus is about freedom, of course. So freedom and liberation and, awakening. So a lot of people who've been dark politicians, dirty politicians, greedy corporate entities, Citizens United treating corporations as people. That's really dark. These things need to be changed. So here we are, the people going through it, and we're being tasked with the need to make them accountable. But we won't get a chance to do that until November, except for in all of our local elections, which are just as important. Just as important. So that's a backdrop for all week, of course, and beyond. This Saturn squaring the nodes is this doesn't change until, this axis between Scorpio and Taurus won't change until next year, next summer actually, and this T-square up here, this won't change until November, mid-November. And Saturn will not get out of the retrograde until October 23rd. So this is the prime time for making changes within. Anything and everything you can think of to take care of yourself financially and get your life more simple than ever before. Take away stress in every single way that you can. That's what's on the table right now for everyone, because these structures, Saturn structure, governmental structures, they are probably falling apart, but in a good way, because some of it doesn't, some of it has to hold. But it's we, the people, that get to choose who gets into a government position. And there's way more of us than there are of them. So we just have to know our power. We truly have to understand our power. And that's what this Sun opposing Neptune in Pisces is about. Getting clear. Don't be afraid. Virgo can sometimes get very insecure, just like Cancer does. Virgo thinks that it needs to be perfect in order to deserve love and safety, and because it trines Taurus here. Taurus can be about self-preservation, and then Virgo's being useful, and then we have Pluto up here in Capricorn. And there we have our power issues, power struggles. We who do work for the government for power structures or any big corporations or, government. We are in a prime place now to understand our power, to understand how powerful you are. But you, so now I'm going to speak to Mercury opposing Jupiter here, and notice there's the sextile as well to Mars. When I say you, I'm also talking to myself. We need to understand our power of choice, our free will to decide what we want our lives to be like, and we don't want restrictions that bring in, especially with this in conjunct here to Saturn, from the Sun to Saturn. The Sun is shining the light on adjustments that need to be made so that we don't have these old restrictions that take away from our being able to develop our lives the way that we deserve to, right? So we can have rebellion with Saturn in Aquarius, but the numbers of the violent, rebellious types of people, I think, are much smaller. So I wouldn't worry, but I would also trust your intuition before going out, and that is exactly why we have the Sun here trining Pluto, sextiling Neptune here. So this aspect of the architect. And this is in alignment all week long, because you can see the Sun's at 18, building up to 26, right? And the aspect of the architect is a builder. And Pluto's at the fulcrum point up here, of the bucket. The Sun is shining light on our power, and our power is much bigger than what we can see on Earth with our physical manifestation, right? It is connected to our spirit. So this is our spiritual and physical power, where every single moment of life on Earth, we can be spiritualizing, Neptune and Pisces, spiritualizing our physical matter on Earth, physical matter. Just with your breath, every time you take in a breath. And Virgo deeply knows that is exactly how to bring order into form and out of what seemed to be chaotic. And this trine over to Uranus in the North Node, and Venus trining Uranus, I mean, we have a lot of help. That is also, because with this is just for a couple of days, this trine here, over to, oh no, wait, no, that's not true. Venus trining the North Node that's an all-week thing. But the Sun in this double trine to Uranus and the North Node, that's lasting as well. I'm not sure if it's all week, though. We'll see as we get going. So, yeah, I think it is. So, but anyway, I totally lost my train of thought there, dealing with the details of the little bit of math here. But anyway, with the Sun in Virgo shining the light over to Uranus here in an easy flow of energy, we have these opportunities to bring in, whatever aspects we want to reinvent ourselves. New ways of work and service and the details, and it can also be a really great time to get your diet really clear, the way that it works for you in your in your body, because there's no one else in your body. It's just you. No one else gets to create those rules. Sometimes it's trial and error, right? Like it's like saying, like, all nuts are good for all people because nuts are just good for people. Well, I can't digest cashews, but I do really, really well with walnuts. And I don't do so well with Brazil nuts or macadamia, probably because they're too, and the cashews too, maybe like higher in fat or something. But I do really well with sunflower seeds and pumpkin seeds. Things like that, So for me, it depends on, it's blood type. I go by the blood type diet because it's the only thing that works for me. And it's not one size fits all. It's very unique, and it has to do with your microbiome, your gut health, and it has to do with your what you can digest, right? And that's what Virgo's all about. Virgo rules digestion. So anyway, more things about Virgo energy is that there's this need to feel useful, and we can't feel useful if we can't digest our food, or if we're having health problems, if we're needing to make those adjustments. And the adjustment up here to Saturn can have everything to do with how we structure our lives, right? So getting our diet and our health under wraps or under some type of control is it's definitely here. It's always here. It's a daily thing that you can't get away from, but there's a lot of support for that today, for this day and this a lot through this week, especially because the Sun opposing Neptune will help you understand your sensitivities and what they are about. And then you know what to avoid. Because above all, Virgo is so great for making distinctions, discernment and distinctions. That's why Virgos are such great healthcare workers. And opposing Neptune, this is a very, very wonderful transit for getting in touch with your intuition and letting your intuition tell you what's best for you, rather than a doctor, rather than some guy with a YouTube channel that says he knows all about your gut health, right? And he's just trying to make money because anytime they're going to throw you into the one-size-fits-all pattern, run the other direction, because it does not work that way. There are people like a type O blood type. They need meat, and they need red meat. They need a lot of iron, and they don't digest the other things that we do very well. And then some people can't do, well, I don't know that dairy is good for anybody, but some people digest it a whole lot better than others. I don't, but some people do. So there's that. So I won't say anything more about that, but that's all I know about, my pushing 70 years of dealing with my body on the planet. So, okay. Let's keep going. Let's see, other things that are lasting all week long. Let's see, the Sun is in this trine to Uranus just for a couple of days. So we want to, just till Tuesday night, we really want to take advantage of this. But this trine up to Pluto and down over here to this connection. This is well beyond this week. This is all week. Yeah. And then Mercury opposing Jupiter over here. This is all week as well. So what is this about? Well, Mercury wants to communicate, especially in relationships, but might be trying to find the right words or waiting for the right timing. And then Jupiter over here in Aries is like, I'll just go for it. So there can be some inner confrontations around trying to find the right time and the right words, or speaking up at all. We can have some shrinking violet type of moments where you had something golden that you needed to say, and as long as it's kind, as long as it's helpful, then go for it. But if it's like an overblown ego type of a thing, unhealthy ego, whether it's overblown or weak, it's still unhealthy. But any unhealthy aspect of an ego will just need to say it first, right? And this could be the problem here. Like this needing to come first could be an issue all week long. And needing to... I'll never forget my eldest granddaughter when she was so little. I mean, she was only 5. Was she 4.5 or 5? She figured out something that was really smart, but her parents didn't want to listen to it. And we're all together in an airport, and I'm like, yeah, I hear you, honey. But she's like, just saying. She's only 5. Just saying. I'm like, where'd you get that? Of course, she got herself into some trouble with her parents, but, that's one of the things about being a grandma. You kind of have to bite your tongue and love everybody through it, sometimes. Especially when it's something very, very minor. But anywho, I think she learned that day to, don't just say it. Especially when you're out in public. She didn't get in trouble like that. She just got some frowning. So anyway, which can be crushing to a little one, right? Because she really wanted to be heard. So here I am, I got to be the one to hear her, because I did. I heard her. Yeah, but you have to be careful not to laugh out loud, right? So she didn't get any frowns from me, that's for sure. Because I could see what was happening. But it's something like that, right? Like where you want to honor what's coming through. And then, sometimes you're in protective mode where you don't want her to get in trouble. But it can be like that. And it can also be where if you've been under the mindset of peace at any price, and somebody's coming at you with a whole lot of energy, and they just want it their way because the negativity's in Jupiter in Aries. I should do this. Hold on. I think I totally blotted out the signs here with the marker. Jupiter in Aries retrograde, no less, it can really get in trouble, especially with speech. But if you've been going along with, peace at any price, Libra style, you may be confronted, because remember, oppositions bring in confrontations through the mirroring process of relationships. You may finally stand up for yourself and say, hey, wait a minute. This is me over here. And, some higher self message may come through here that says, you can just stand back. Or, I'm gone. It can be that type of a thing where I've had enough of this, because this has been building, this Mercury opposing Jupiter. Jupiter's a slower moving planet. And Jupiter in Aries has been going on, and will go on until November. I think it's right around Thanksgiving, USA. So, I don't know, 23rd, something like that, 23rd, 24th. It's, what is it, second or third Thursday every, whatever. I think it's November 23rd. So Jupiter has been sitting here in Aries, and of course Aries wants to win. Yeah, no, I'm talking about negative Aries. Wants to win, wants to move forward, wants to be first. So if you're just saying something to say it first, or to have the last word, to a Libra who's been sitting over here trying to be very fair and loving and kind, and opening up to both polarities, you're gonna have trouble with that Libra, or they're not gonna stick around and take it anymore. But if this is just a confrontation and you're figuring out, oh, I have a pattern of running away from confrontation, then why? Ask yourself why. What's the fear of confrontation about? What happened when you were little and you tried to assert yourself? And work through whatever that is, because this is what the transit is all about intrinsically, deep down inside. And you can see, not while Mercury's retrograde, but after Mercury goes direct, which won't be until, oh goodness, when is, hold on, I have my chart. It's October. Mercury goes direct. Oh no, that's the Pisces full moon. Oh, we did this last week, didn't we? All right, I took you through this last week. Sorry, I should have kept this chart out so we could see it. Yeah, Mercury goes direct October 2nd. Okay, so so what it's going to do, it's going to back into 24 degrees Virgo, I think. Was that what it was? I could have sworn that's what I remember. Yeah, 24 degrees Virgo. And then it has to go, after it goes direct October 2nd, it has to get all the way back to this position here. Well, actually, it just has to get to about 5 degrees. Well, it'll be, we're working this. This is this, right? And it's going to be happening for quite some time because it's going to go back and then we're still within that orb of about 10 degrees. So, yeah. So be careful over this next month with your words and with your actions. And if the fear of confrontation is coming up, figure out what that's about. If people are coming at you, maybe it's about learning a healthy boundary here, because Aries and well, shoot, it doesn't matter what polarity it is. With all the signs, we're all needing to learn healthy boundaries. That's part of growing up. That's part of ego development. Healthy ego development has strong, healthy boundaries. But maybe when we were little, we didn't get to have that. Maybe we got smacked when we said no. Maybe we got spanked at school when we wouldn't do what the teacher said, and we were humiliated in front of our classroom. You know, there are 19 states in the USA still that allow corporal punishment. That is wrong. Truly, truly wrong. And that's another law that needs to be changed. I mean, can you imagine how humiliating that would be for a kid? Yeah, it's like, yeah. Well, you learn not to trust any authority, and you learn to rebel at some point, especially as a teenager, or be crushed, because it puts you into survival mode, which is absolutely what Aries and, oh my goodness, Aries and Libra. So I'm here, and I'm in a relationship with somebody. Aries, I'm here. Libra, I'm in relationship with somebody. Who's at the other end? And if they're hurting me, then I go into major survival mode, which is Taurus. And then to the polarity of Scorpio, you're in that, can I trust them? Can I trust the other people? And especially they're the ones that feed me, have the resources, you know, all of that. And then moving on to another polarity of Gemini and Sag, we learn how to talk and think, and then we have some direction, you know. So, and then are we safe with Cancer and Capricorn? There's all of that. So safety is such an issue, going through all the signs from, well, and the polarities. So you always have to look at the polarities, because it's always about balance. But going through, especially Aries all the way up, you know, well, Aries all the way up through Capricorn is from child to home and hearth, and then into the world. And then by the time we get to Leo and Aquarius, we're in that place of knowing who do we trust our hearts with. And if we have had major wounding, trauma from authority figures, we're not going to trust anybody. and we're going to be kind of numbed out and splintered and need a lot of therapy, a lot of trauma healing type therapy. You can see the challenges of being human. So, okay, so let's get out of that and look at what else is going on a week. Got the Mercury opposing Jupiter. Venus squaring Mars is happening all week. So again, the same thing I was talking about with the Sun square Mars last week. The light is shining on what is wrong, but the dirty players are still doing their stuff. You know, politically, this is what's happening. And people will be showing up. That's the thing. I'm pretty sure Merrick Garland will appeal, because I'm pretty sure that he has to in order to set precedents. And these are unprecedented times we're living in, right? So, but personally, in relationships here with Mars square Venus, Venus in Virgo wants to slow down, get things right. Mars in Gemini wants to just say it. And if you're hell-bent on having what you think are the facts, and you're up against a Venus in Virgo person or somebody with a high level of Venus, and because this conjunction here is happening, yeah, because 7 to 18, this is conjunct to me, and I actually love it. There's power here in unifying some newfound strength. And all you have to do is just keep moving on. You don't have to be perfect. If you make a mistake with your words, say you're sorry. If you are sorry, if you're not, and you want to be, I don't know, just be right and don't care about the other person, then, maybe it's a good thing. Sometimes it's a good thing to say no and set the boundary, because Venus, and especially with Virgo here, Sun and Venus, Virgo, especially with the Sun and Venus here, is all about tracking patterns. So if you've had the experience with a lot of people, or with someone, let's just say there's one person that you've had a lot of experience with over the years, and it started out great and everything was fine, but then you notice this one little thing, this one little yellow flag or orange flag. And now, with Mercury and Jupiter opposing, and Mercury trining Mars, we can have some verbal diarrhea going on here. And if let's say there's someone who's oversteps their boundaries with like talking over, you see it on the news, and I think I talked about this a little bit last week, but let's say you're in a relationship with someone like that and they just don't seem to get it, and you keep having to say, I had something to say there, and then you cut me off. And then, especially if you're a Libra person and you go wherever they're going because you're listening, because you're intent on listening. And like if you're a therapist, naturally a therapist, which a lot of Libras are, it's easy for them to feel what's going on. And imagine being a professional therapist and you have a session. I've had those before too. And it's like, it's just the way it is. But where they just talk the whole time and there's no taking a breath and it's all about the story. But you know what? After a while, if they keep with it and they keep with it and they keep with it, finally things work out, because what we avoid, and Virgo can be about avoiding. So eventually things will break open. And sometimes we do have to set a healthy boundary when somebody just won't get with it. If they don't get it, if you've been in a relationship with somebody for, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is, and they have this pattern of just coming at you or not listening, and just going with their mouth, then you're really just there to be a witness for them to express themselves. And that's fine if you're getting paid. But if this is a friend, you're being used. So that's what this balance is about here between Libra and Aries and Scorpio and Taurus. And this aspect of the architect between Pluto, your power as to what you want to manifest in your life, and needing to have a lot more compassionate connection, deep spiritual connection. And the sun is over here in Virgo shining a light on all of that up to, you're right, just look at the pattern, like forget about all the other ones, but just focus in on this sun up to the power and then the sensitivity. And then you get to decide if you want to go there. But the door's there. You just have to open it. Actually, it's already open. You just have to walk through it if that's where you want to go. But you get to decide because it's your life. No one else's. No one else gets to decide what you do and what your lessons are. Well, that's between you and your higher self, God, the whole 9 yards. That's completely, yeah. So let's see, what else for the rest of the week? So Mars squaring Venus. So relationships going through adjustments and confrontations galore, but finding your strength, finding your inner strength based on what you want because you're good at tracking patterns by now. And if this is new to you to track patterns in your relationships, I highly recommend it because relationships are mirrors. So they'll help you grow. So it's never about what the other person is doing to you. It's about how you're handling the energy that's coming either to you, at you, or running away from you. Like if people are leaving and withdrawing, what's that about? If you're feeling rejected, what's that about? Why are they leaving? All of these questions as to relating is prime information or prime work when Mercury's in Libra. And especially because the sun in Virgo will eventually be in Libra pretty soon, right? And of course, we'll have Sun conjunct Mercury coming up. A lot of people are born during Sun conjunct Mercury, I think. I think it's over a third. Yeah, it's about a third of the population that has Mercury retrograde, like me. And the Sun conjunct Mercury too. I think it's over a third. I'd have to look that up again though. Sometimes I forget. So anyway, so Mercury opposing Jupiter's all week. Mars and Venus are squaring all week. Venus trining the North Node over here is all week long. You can see the 7 building up to the 14. And later on it'll include Uranus. That'll happen on Wednesday. And then, of course, you can see the opposition here. The nodes are always opposite. But Uranus is not always hanging out with the North Node for so long. And Mars sextile Chiron here. From 11 to 15, this is all week long. So let's look at that real quick before we go. That inconjunct is up to the South Node. This is just for a day or so, but let's combine it because we do have a connection here. And then, so let's look at that. And let's also look at this sesquisquare from Mars up to Pluto. And let's see what this is all about. So first of all, Mars sextiling. So sextiles always bring in opportunities, remember. And the opportunity is to gather the information. Mars always motivates us to go in a certain direction. And in Gemini, it's about getting the facts. You remember, like, just the facts, ma'am? Gathering the facts so that we can take the opportunity to heal. With Chiron and Aries, it's about healing our abandonment issues. It has everything to do with healing our impulsiveness, feeling left out. Anything that could hold us back from moving forward is on the table, okay? But in a good way, opportunities to heal that. And look back into the past as to someone who maybe had control, or maybe you felt betrayed by them. You actually were betrayed by them. This could be a betrayal issue in a past life, with Scorpio. But with Scorpio energy, we can also transform it deeply. Now, Scorpio has to do with issues of intimacy and trust, and sexual, like intensity, things like that. All things that bring in intense feelings, which would be, of course, like sexual betrayal or betrayal of any type. Or this could be healing the fear of betrayal, right? So betrayal, except for when it's outright something awful that happened when you were little. But in an adult relationship, betrayal comes in when we don't reveal who we are. So just hold that in mind as, your healthy adult self that is trying to heal something probably from when you were little, where you didn't feel safe to reveal yourself because you might have gotten smacked or so-called disciplined in some way, or something taken away from you type of thing if you spoke up. Well, maybe we just didn't know how to say it the right way when we were little. Or, if you were like me, you actually got smacked. So we grow up and we evolve out of our wounding, and that's what this is all about here. But this is, let me see, is it just for a day? No, wait, hold on. Oh, goodness, we might have, I actually love this. Let's see. Yeah, check it out. All week long. We have this opportunity all week long. And we've got the finger of fate coming in here on Saturday. Let's see. Is that going to be Friday as well? Yeah. Thursday. Wednesday. Oh, you guys. Tuesday. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so from tomorrow on, we've got that finger of fate in this whole lineup here. So it's really bringing in Mars communication. Okay, so I think I'll go ahead and move forward, because I think that's about it as far as we've got the Jupiter sextiling, Mars. I'll just hold this in mind while we keep going, because I think that's the better thing to do. Otherwise, it's too marked up and you can't see the things, the aspects, in a single focus, singular type of a focus. Okay, so the thing that's different here on Monday. Oh, shoot, hold on. Spoke too fast. What am I doing here? That's the Pisces full moon. Hold on. Oh, yeah, here we are. I forgot to talk about the moon. I forgot about the moon. We can't do that. But it's an aspect to, because it's conjunct Jupiter. Okay, so we had the Pisces full moon, right, up here, and it's crossed over Neptune, probably revealing sensitivities, especially to diet. And now it's moved past, it's into Aries, so energy is moving quicker, but it's in that it's conjunct there to this semi-square from Jupiter to Saturn. So that means there's a illumination coming in, new understandings about what you need to do to move forward, to be in your own authority. And this would, on political spheres, I'm thinking that we're probably going to know something right away. Actually, I'm reading this on Thursday, so by looking at this chart, I bet it's going to happen when Aries is like, when the moon hits. Yeah, probably any time we're going to find out that I think Merrick Garland, I could be wrong. I haven't even checked guidance on that, but I'm thinking that Merrick Garland is going to have to do his appeal of that special master decree. And maybe there's going to be something coming down on her, because she's definitely causing problems, because Trump has no executive privilege claim. He just is saying that. And she's thrown a big monkey wrench in the justice, which is what this opposition is all about. And the moon is moving this way. So let's go ahead and go forward and check out the moon as it had moved across. So by Monday, I think we're all in a better place, because with the moon that was in that aspect here from Uranus that wants to free things up, this semi-square here and the semi-square here where the moon was, just pretend the moon's still there, look at 3, that connection there would have caused Merrick Garland to need to act. This is a need to act, right? This is somebody trying to abuse their governmental position, which was Trump. And then the moon is conjuncting Jupiter, and it's like, hell no. If he doesn't do something, we've got major problems. And then the semi-square here in aspect to, so the moon conjunct Jupiter, blowing things up, opposing Mercury, wants balance and justice and fairness and equality. And then up at the apex here, you can kind of see like an arrow, like if you just, here, I'll go ahead and do that, because it really is bringing in, the moon has crossed over it, but look at this here. See this arrow formation going on here, right? So information, because people made choices and did certain things, what's her face, Eileen Cannon, didn't have to do what she did, but she did it. And now she has consequences to pay. And it's moving in this direction of Jupiter in Aries saying, hold up, it's going this way, right? These are confrontations like I was talking about before. So I can imagine what she's going through. And then she's up against a government situation. But Uranus is over here, the stronger planet, because it's a slower moving planet, and it's in, of course, Taurus, that is all about safety and breaking things apart. Uranus will break things apart. It's like, no, that doesn't happen. You don't get to do that. So, okay, but now let's look at the moon for today. We have a sextile. No, wait, hold on. Oh, yeah. Well, because we have to look at this conjunction here. The moon's conjunct Chiron, and then, of course, in this sextile up here to Saturn. Okay, so opportunities, healing, Chiron, opportunities, sextile, to free the people. And then Chiron is still, remember, in that sextile to Mars, so communications, new information to keep it going. And remember, this sextile is going on all week, right? Everything else is all week, except, now it's all week for this. So let's focus in. Oops, I am just making a mess. Sorry. If you're Virgo, I'm probably driving you nuts. Draw a straight line, lady. Okay, so let's talk about this here, because the moon has joined, and between Sunday morning and Monday morning, the moon not only crossed over Jupiter, but went through Chiron, and is now on the other side of Chiron. So there was a lot of illumination coming in on what needs to be healed and what was wrong. And now with the moon in this finger of fate, and this is happening all week long between Chiron. The moon will keep going, but Chiron and up to the south node, the past. So what needs to be healed from the past is now very, very, what's the word? We're aware, we have understanding. It's obvious, right? Because it's in Aries here. It's like it's here. And the past was there, and we're having to figure things out. And then this opportunity with Mars to the past is like, okay, now we know what they did, right? This is the information coming out about how Trump, because we've got this, remember, this going on here that this isn't stopping all week. Now we know that he had documents that revealed all things nuclear in other countries, from other countries, at his beach resort, at his beach club. What? What? Ugh. And then today we have another finger of fate going on from here. And I'll break this down into what it means for us as well, to the sun. Okay, so these are so important. We have 2 finger of fates going on. Okay. Now, we still always have free will, but these are opportunities. Okay, so for us, there's an opportunity to clean up the past and move forward with more facts. That's what this is about. And then from here, there's the light shining up to the control and the forms, the structures that are already in place. And then over here to how do we feel about it, and what do we want to do about it, and especially what new ways do we want to move through our lives with Chiron in Aries, free from the past. Amazing transits. And everything else I said about, Venus squaring Mars, that's still there. So this is all about relationships and communications and freedom and authority. Yeah, wow. So this Venus here, with that trine over here to the north node, this is all week. This is nice to see. Wait, hold on. Let me make sure with the moon. I might just switch charts and go to the next day so that we can focus in on this aspect. I think so. Let's see. The moon, we are definitely making emotional adjustments as to being more independent than ever with the moon in Aries. And an Aries moon will just, it's all about becoming more and more independent. And an Aries moon will just say, okay, I tried, and then just end up going. It's very trailblazing. And with the inconjunct over to the sun in this formation, because now we've tracked the pattern and now we have those details like I was talking about before. So that's really up for it today. Yeah, Saturn's still scoring the nodes. Okay, so let's go ahead and go forward. And this other one that I wanted to focus in on. So the moon's in Taurus today. What am I saying? Tuesday. It's Thursday here, but Tuesday. The moon's at 0 degrees Taurus. But I want to focus in here on this Venus trine. So see this trine aspect here to the nodes and Uranus. It's a double trine over to Venus. This is a building trine that is all week, and it's in, later on it will, oh no, we already had the aspect of the architect go through, that's right. But this is hanging in there all week. So you remember Venus wants to be in harmony, wants to, especially in Virgo, like connect the dots to things that lead to more happiness, more beauty in your life. Venus helps us figure out what we really value, and it rules Taurus, and it's in this trine to Taurus. So there's breakthroughs with Uranus as to what our values are, and then from there we have new insights as to which way we want to go. And this is going to be building all week long, because you can see Venus is at 10, the North Node's at 14, and of course Uranus is at 18. Yeah. Let's see, what else? With the moon, we have to talk about the moon for the day, right? So 0 degrees. Remember how we had the moon conjunct Pluto last week? And of course it's gone across, and we had the moon conjunct Pluto, and then Saturn, and then Uranus, and then now it's squaring Pluto. So we've had this opportunity to illuminate power structures and find our personal power, and then we've bumped up against rigid rules, and is this the way we want to live the rest of our lives? And we're getting, there's no getting away from understanding that they've already taken away in many states your right to have any control of your own body, which puts you in a position of being just livestock. And are you going to stand for that? And is your family going to stand for that? And if your family's going to stand for that, are you still going to stay a part of your family, or is your family the problem? All these questions, all these relationship issues are up. Because we're not talking about just some little political situation. This is huge. And then they're coming after Social Security, and they're coming after all these human rights. And if we don't stand up for that, we're going to be livestock. If we let them do this, how many of us are going to want to stay on the planet, right? How many of us are going to want to reincarnate and come back here and try and work something out? I don't think a lot. And I really feel like Rovember is definitely coming. So I think we're going to be teaching them some lessons. So that's what the moon up against Saturn is all about. Maybe some harsh confrontations. Now you can see the square to the nodes finally came back in with my program here, but it's been there all along and will be there until mid-November. And this is the time we get to vote, November 8th. This is, midterms are coming up, and then they'll see who won. And if there's cheating going on, we're going to figure that out. And if they think that they can bully poll workers, there's going to be problems there. I mean, it is a problem already, because less people, especially imagine being elderly and afraid of losing your life, and you're tired and exhausted because you've been fighting this for years, and they just say, I'm going to sit this one out. Well, I understand. So we need the youth to show up, and they are. They are, because we need gun control laws. So we're rebelling to the past because we want a brand new future. What Uranus and Taurus is all about, that has to do with safety and harmony. And Venus in Virgo is teaching us exactly how to get it. Helps us to be really useful, work hard, and organize. And especially with the sun up here, still trining Pluto all week. Coming together is what I'm feeling. Now, let's go back to the sun squaring Pluto. Moon squaring Pluto. So the moon bumped up against Saturn, and then all of this, power struggle and up against the old rigid ways, got to relax, a little bit, and then bumped up against Neptune, and we realized how sensitive and vulnerable we are, and how we're all in it together, and if we don't band together, we're not going to make it. And now it's found new energy in Aries, and I would say by Tuesday morning early, we've made some breakthroughs. And now in Taurus, it's calming down. The moon square Pluto is calming down in a way that we're more grounded in our bodies than ever before. But we're actually, well, that happened before even with because the later degree of Aries it would have happened. But anyway, now it's calmer. Tuesday morning it should be calmer, but we're still, connected to something very powerful that came through and helped us to transform over the weekend and up to this morning. So I think that's actually really good. And you can see those aspects of the arc. I'm sorry, what am I saying? The finger of fates, the yods, are still in. This one is still here. This one is just, the inconjunct. So the sun in Virgo, synthesizing, assimilating, getting everything right, is needing to make an adjustment to something that's just slow and stodgy over here, but definitely wants the freedom. So there's a slowing down here too. Slowing down here and slowing down here. Jupiter is still trucking along in Aries. Mars in Gemini goes really fast, and but it's in that aspect to heal things from the past. So let's see, what else? Everything else is the same. We've already gone over it, yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to, let's go ahead and go to Wednesday. And the moon is still in Taurus, but now it's right conjunct the North Node. So now there's a lot of power up against a lot of illumination and things that want to break apart these old rigid rules that haven't been working. And we've been through this before, and we're not going backwards, right? I mean, no, we're not going back to the 50s and 60s. We broke through that, and so now we're fighting for our grandchildren, basically. And our grandchildren, most of them are old enough to fight with us, and we're going to do this together. But we can't sit it out and think that the young ones can do it. We have to help them, because it's going to take all of us. When you're in a political system that has worked to cheat through gerrymandering, through suppression of voter rights, the only way you can overcome that until you can get in there and create those new laws yourself, which are already written and they're already in there and they just need to be passed. But Mitch McConnell's holding them up. The way you work it is you override the whole system by blasting through it with votes. So many votes, such high numbers of votes that they cannot deny it, and they're out. So that's what we're headed towards. Rovember. Now, on a personal level, if you're inclined to just ignore politics, which I don't know why you're on my channel if you are, but welcome anyway. Welcome anyone. So as long as you're kind, I want you here. This joining of the moon to the North Node illuminates this need for safety and the need for self-preservation and the need for the feminine. This is like putting the Empress card here, like if we had 3 Empress cards and put them all right here. And especially because now, not only has the North Node and Uranus been trining Venus, now the moon is trining Venus. So we have these 3 aspects over to Venus. So again, here, I'll get the card out. I'll show it to you. Hold on. Just in case you're totally new to tarot. Venus. She's sitting in, this is all about wheat. Venus the Empress is all about growing food. This is all about relationships and safety. That's what she rules. And she's the mom of the tarot. So maybe we could say that Venus is the mom of the zodiac. I don't know. I never thought about that. Kind of fun, though. So the aspect of the architect, from Venus to the south node, Venus to the moon, Venus to the north node in Uranus, is Venus is holding the space of the fulcrum here, right? Opportunities to heal the past and an easier flow of energy to break apart things that are stuck and need to be free so that we can move forward into the future. This is wonderful right here. This is actually a really good aspect. So I expect Wednesday to bring some breakthroughs of some type. And you can see the aspect here, the yod, right? The finger of fate here from Mars over to Chiron. And then up to the past of the south node. So there's something that's very transformative at the apex, transforming the past. And new ideas, new breakthroughs, energy moving of information. The facts are coming out about the way people cheated and what they've done. And we're not listening to these idiots anymore. We haven't been for a long time, but we're listening to them just to call them out and make them accountable. And this is an opportunity to heal, to stand up for people who can't stand up for themselves. We're standing up for all the 10-year-old girls who've been raped and become pregnant, and, women that have had ectopic pregnancies and had to have abortions, otherwise they'll die. We're standing up for women's health care. We're standing up for justice. And with this Mars trine Saturn, there's an easier flow there to work it through so that there's more freedom. There's a freer flow of information here that's happening. And then especially because Mars is trining Mercury here. Mercury's the messenger. And in Libra, there's a bridge of messages that just keep coming through to get to the facts, to gather the information. And then when you have the information, you know which way to go because you're making those decisions for your own life. And of course, like I said, Pluto's up here trining Venus all week, and the sun is connected there. Or no, actually, I'm sorry. Venus will trine Pluto, but it's the sun trining Pluto that's all week long because the 21 degrees up to the 26th. But Venus will get there. And then there's more power for the women. But the sun's shining the light for now to show us the way. How do we come into our power? How do we come into our authority? How do we move through our lives with coming from our inner integrity as a sovereign human being? And with the in conjunct up to Saturn here, there's that adjustment that needs to be made because the man, they're not real men. They're not real men, but they're holding some power. They are going to have some very heavy lessons because Saturn is karmic. Saturn in retrograde brings up old karma that needs to heal. And that's why we have that T-square going on between the nodes. So yeah, and then of course the sun is still opposing Neptune, getting to the truth. We're all in this together. There's so much like health and healthcare wrapped up here. And my hat goes off to, it's rare for me to wear hats except for when I go out, but in the sun. But anyway, I don't like things on my head or around my neck. But I salute all the healthcare workers. doctors and nurses and the whole system. But it needs to, there's healing that needs to happen. So, okay, let's go ahead. Anything else with the moon? It's just mostly it squares Saturn. Yeah, the moon opposite the, well, we do need to talk about this. I'm sorry. The moon here, the moon and 14, yeah, it's all together. Let's just pretend there's 3 oppositions going on here. Okay, so the moon is illuminating the past that needs to be transformed, and Uranus is helping to break it free. And the moon is going to be, I don't know if it'll be past it. Yeah, it's right on the other side of it by Thursday, but the moon's going this way. So we're all knowing which way to go. And then by Thursday morning, 6 a.m. Pacific, the moon's on the other side of Uranus and something has broken apart. Something has woken us up. We have been able to liberate ourselves on a much deeper level. Yeah. Now the moon is still squaring Saturn. Yeah, so it's everything I talked about, but it has intensified greatly. So Wednesday and Thursday are pivotal days, I feel, personally and politically. Let's see. Anything else? No, I'm going to move on because it's really just that. You know what, though? I'm sorry. I should have given some more credence here to just not just, but the moon in Taurus. So Taurus is all about being secure, self-preservation. It has everything to do with our body. It's very tactile. Once bliss, understands bliss, like imagine a baby that's just so happy being in its body and it's feeling good. But then here's the polarity to Scorpio. It's like suddenly they're hungry or they're wet and they need to be changed, they need to be fed, and it's like, I'm dying, that kind of. So that's the polarity basically of Taurus and Scorpio. The vulnerability of being at the hands of other people for your safety and security is the polarity going on here. So as adults, we get to change that up. But as little ones, you can understand why babies are so intensely verbal. And they need to be. Otherwise, they will not be taken care of. They need to be able to cry really loud. And it helps their lungs get strong, too. So, yeah, what else with Taurus? We have to be careful about getting stuck. But with the moon and Uranus there, I don't think that's going to be happening. Taurus does not like to be pushed or bullied or even rushed. So, that slowing down is enlightening for us. It's good to slow down and be in your body. It's dangerous to go too fast, unless you have to get out of the way really quickly, but then you're in a flight or fight situation, and you don't want to be in that all the time, that's for sure. Okay, so Friday, let's go this way so you can see the whole thing. Okay, so Friday morning, the moon is now getting really tight to, well, it is conjunct at 7 degrees there, but it's actually a little less than 7. But now it puts, because Mars has been trining Saturn up here, which is a better flow of energy, but now the moon is coming in to help. So gathering the facts for our freedom, and now the moon is really wanting more facts. The moon is the planet that helps to connect. It has everything to do with being able to attach to something that can intuit our way. The moon is very intuitive, and it responds to situations, but it also does connect to our digestion and food, because tummy, it's all about the tummy. And then because we've got the double square over here to Venus, again, be careful about digestive upsets, especially changing from When the moon was in Taurus, maybe we ate a little too much, and now we're figuring out what we can digest and what we can't. And then in Mars squaring over, conjuncting Mars, the moon in Gemini, conjuncting Mars, and then with the square to Venus, we have more information about what's best for us, and that's building all day long. So getting into a strong flow of the foundation of the way your body works, I think, is coming in here. But also good for information, but the information can help you with your body, right? And all the other aspects are the same as the last couple of days, and some of them all week, and of course the ones that will continue on. As the moon conjuncts Mars later on, it's going to so our intuition is going to make an adjustment for us based on the past. So again, I really do have that feeling of, and that's especially true because of this aspect of the architect of Venus in Virgo, over here to Uranus in the North Node. This, just on the food level, sensitivities, things like that, this is more information as to how to create harmony in your body through your diet, and then figuring out opportunities to figure out what happened in the past that didn't work, and making changes and transforming that, because this polarity of Taurus and Uranus is all about making change. And then with Venus, with this aspect of the architect Venus here, there's the awareness of really, what you need to do, and now you know it, and you've got it down. So let's see. And if you don't, with the moon in this flow over here, if you don't, you're going to be reminded about what works for you and what doesn't, and then you will eventually make those changes, because nobody likes to be uncomfortable and have trouble in their bodies. But if you are working through certain addictions, sugar is very addictive. Or let's say you're trying to give up drinking, any kind of soda or alcohol or whatever. Things like that. Neptune in Pisces is, especially with so Neptune and Pisces here can sometimes, we're more sensitive than ever. And then with the sextile up to Pluto and the trine over here to the Sun, we have a very tight orb here of building a much stronger bridge of powerful. So the Sun is shining the light to help us understand what we need in order for our body to work well. And then we might realize that it needs to include meditation in order to help us with some addictions, maybe. And other times it can be, with some people, it can be the Sun shining the light on, like this aspect is really good for anybody who's a registered dietitian or a homeopathic doctor, or naturopathic doctor, and helping people with their diets. And through very, very compassionate understanding as to what a body needs, everything is here for that. I love it. This is actually really good. And then the moon is now moved over the other side. So for today, we have the moon square Venus. So that's the moon and Mars are square Venus. But this trine up here to Saturn does bring in the easy flow of energy to create the structure and the foundation for, getting things right in the way you need for your diet and for your health and for your organizing your life. And we are definitely moving towards the equinox. Let's see, hold on, I have that chart. That's happening really soon after September 22nd, 6:03 p.m. Pacific. You can see the sun here is at 29 degrees 59 minutes. So one more minute and it's at 0 degrees. Or not, yeah, one more minute. I need to bump this up to 6:04 p.m. But anyway, when the sun is at 0 degrees of, which is one more minute, 0 degrees of, Libra, then we move into, that's our autumn equinox. It's under the clip there, you can't see it. But that's the first day of fall, the first day of autumn. So I'll go into that. That'll be next week. But I just wanted to show you that because that's where we're headed. And we all know that when autumn comes and the fall comes, we tend to clean out cabinets and cupboards and shift our, well, unless you're in California and other states and other countries where there's not really the 4 seasons that change, but you still will, have the need for jackets at night and things like that. But those of us who live where you get the 4 seasons, there's a major change of like, okay, moving this out of here and putting this over here. Summer clothes go back there. Winter clothes come up here. So there's a shifting of energies. And that's predominantly what I'm seeing here. Because we know that we're moving into that new time. And that's what we have going on here. Especially with the moon square, because the moon will get us going. Well, Mars definitely has been moving that energy anyway, right? Because Mars is squaring the sun, but it's a waning square there. But the moon is definitely in a strong square to the sun. And that'll get us going too, because remember, the moon responds. The moon wants to respond. And what does it want to respond to? Well, new information that's coming through as to create more order in your life. Because if anything, Virgo wants order, because Virgo is a sign of divine order. So, let's see. Everything else is the same. The moon has this inconjunct up to the south node, so that's what I was feeling into when I was talking about moving things around in closets and cabinets and creating more efficiency and gearing up for the winter when things are not as easy, right? Yeah, the sun is inconjunct. Oh, Venus is in conjunct, to Chiron. So adjustments as to creating more pleasure in your life. The details that you attend to can create more pleasure in your life so that you're more free to move forward. And then with Chiron and Aries, it's about feeling, that ability to actually move forward. So I don't know, for some people it could be like buying a treadmill or a rowing machine or something like that, because you're thinking about moving, like how do you move your body in the winter when it's when it's snowing outside and it might not be easy enough for you to get out and go for walks and things like that. Could be, if you're a guy, you could be thinking about shopping for a snowblower or anything else like that might, and if you're working in the garden, this is that energy of making those adjustments, all the adjustments that you need to make to like harvest and bring everything in. If you're a farmer, boy, these are, this is great because of the movement there in Aries. Okay, let's see. Anything else? I think we're good there. Oh, this is Saturday, and this is it. Okay, so to summarize this week, I feel it has a lot to do with health, gathering the details, getting really clear on what works and what doesn't, being careful to not burn yourself out. Make sure you get the rest in that you need, because there's a lot of high mental energy going on all week long. And if you can get enough movement with your body, your mind will just kind of relax. Be careful about getting caught up in arguments or like a distorted perception of what somebody else thinks is going on that it really isn't. It's an excellent week for relaxing things and spiritual things, all things spiritual and all things that relax your body. Because remember, we're all holding space for this, like revolution that's going on all over the world. No matter what country you're in, there's still Pluto and Capricorn going on, sextiling Neptune, right? And Saturn squaring the nodes. Yeah, it doesn't matter where we live, it's happening. It's a good week for new creative things with Mercury, Libra, Mars, Gemini. Creative new ideas coming through with work and health, diet, daily details, scheduling. This could definitely be, and this is more, going further on because they can kind of see the trajectory going on here. Even through, especially tuning in here to Saturn up at the apex with the nodes, with Uranus here, all the way through, late October, feeling like Halloween time, somewhere in there. Reinventing your own life, reinventing yourself. And you're going to see, structures fall apart that aren't working anymore. We're gearing up to just plan. If you're in a state where you can't mail in your vote, gearing up to vote, planning your vote way ahead of time. Because in some states where they have things with the voter suppression laws, like in Georgia, if you're not registered by a certain date, so what they've done is they've dropped a bunch of people off the voter registration rolls. And you think you're registered because you did register, but they dropped you off just because they're dirty bastards, right? No other reason than that, just because they want to win. And the way they win is by keeping your vote out so that their vote counts more. So double check every single day going up to that last day of whatever that last day is in your state where you can register. Because these, primaries and the midterms are really, really important. And so it's all about protection, and getting away from things that have created crisis in the past. And us teaching them who's in charge. And it might play out in your personal life too. Self-protection, self-preservation, getting out of drama and crisis, and anybody who's been betraying, and teaching them who's the boss of your life. Let's see. Looking at everything from a different angle going on here. This is kind of more long-term, though, more than just this week. But being autonomous, being independent, and you don't need to be dependent on another person. And you're coming into that awareness, if you haven't already, that teamwork, together we each achieve more. This is the acronym for team. But we have to be independent human beings within that exchange. So that doesn't mean you don't work for somebody else, but they better pay you well. They better pay you right. Otherwise, it's not an even exchange of energy. And then you have to bring your consciousness in to change that type of a thing. So we have financial issues here. With Saturn up at the apex, being free of that. So let's see, anything else? Yeah, I mean the Venus squaring Venus here squaring Mars. You could be feeling a whole lot of desire to get something that you want. Mars, deciding what you really want, which is good. getting things going in a creative project, a project that you've been wanting to create for a long time. That's good. That's a good use of this square here. The challenging part is irritation. We could be feeling irritated here, especially in relationship. What else does irritate us, really? It's either a relationship with ourselves or someone else, right? You know, it's like having to do something you don't want to do, right? This week, so you know, hold your tongue, but get clear on what you want and work in all the ways you can to get what you want. Because sometimes this aspect is all about understanding what is disturbing and what stresses you out in your flow, like disturbing your flow. So, yeah. So just be careful with like I said, be careful with your words, but go for what you want and work to get what you want is, I guess, the last thing I should say about it. Especially with the moon in this aspect up here to squaring Mars. I'm sorry, Mars is here, yeah, but squaring Neptune, right? So there could be a challenge to, oh yeah, and there's a T-square here. I totally missed this. I didn't see this before. The moon is in a T-square, and it's a building T-square, to Neptune and the sun. And with the Neptune opposing the sun, the big summary here is be careful about going into delusion as to what somebody has said. If their actions don't match their words, because Mercury is in this opposition to Jupiter. Okay. So you will probably be intuiting when somebody's words have not matched their words in the past, have not matched their actions in the present, and then you're realizing, oh, wait a minute, this is a pattern. You're seeing that this is a pattern. And you're thinking back and connecting the dots. And then you're like, oh, wonder what that's about. So tracking patterns in relationship, if people's words don't match their actions, their actions don't match their words, if they don't do what they said they would do, or if you notice that their life is not a reflection of their words, then you know they're full of bullshit. So your bullshit meter is probably going to go off really well this Saturday, this weekend, because the moon approaching and then crossing over Mars will help you tune into that. And, you know, it can be useful information, because you don't want to join your financial resources with anybody who's just walking bullshit. You know? So, okay. I know that didn't sound very nice, but I'm going to end it here. Okay. Take care, you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Okay. Bye.